The original U.S. book covers for The Wheel of Time are some of the most familiar covers in the genre. Maybe you love them, maybe you cringe at them, but you can't deny that they hold a special place in the heart of a lot of fans. In just a moment, I'm going to share some little-known facts about each cover with you. Let's get to it! Everybody, welcome to the Wheel of Time Community Show. I'm your host, Ebony. Before we jump into these covers, please take a moment to like our channel and subscribe to the alert bell. The original U.S. Wheel of Time book covers from Tor Books are some of the best known in the fantasy genre. Even though the 1990s style design is a little outdated now, the imagery and even the font grab the viewer's attention and promise a grand, epic adventure. The artwork for each of these covers was painted by Darrell K Sweet, except for the cover of A Memory of Light, which was painted by Michael Whalen after Darrell Sweet died. But each of these covers has a story behind it, and I want to share some of that with you now. I'll be covering all 15 books in the series, including New Spring. See what I did there? Let's begin with the granddaddy of them all, the cover to The Eye of the World. Tom Doherty, the longtime publisher at Tor Books, was one of the first champions who believed in Robert Jordan's vision. He was so excited to publish the first book, he commissioned 2 covers. Tor released pre-release copies of the book with the alternative cover, but ultimately settled on the iconic moon image for the full release. But the alternative can still be found inside copies of the book. Artist Darrell K Sweet hadn't read the book when he painted the image, so he was working off a written suggestion from Robert Jordan and the publisher. These descriptions were based off of older notes, and they included an extra main Two Rivers character. That character, Daniel Lewin, can be found in the artwork, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for him, depending on how you look at it, he stayed home and missed out on the adventure. In A Memory of Light, the final book of the series, Daniel wonders to himself what life would have been like if he had left the Two Rivers. The second Wheel of Time book cover shows Rand holding the Horn of Valere while Selene and Loial look on, oblivious of a band of Trollocs watching them. The Trollocs depicted in this cover look like humans wearing animal-like metal helmets. This was due again to the fact that Darrell Sweet hadn't read the books and was working from notes. Keep in mind that in publishing, authors don't always have a say in what the covers look like. Sometimes they have no say at all. Some are given the opportunity to offer suggestions, but even popular writers can have a hard time convincing the publisher to make the cover look how they want. Robert Jordan tended to be very hands-off, preferring to let the book itself tell the story. Despite the quirky nature of the cover, the more modern U.S. ebook cover by artist Kakai Kotaki depicts the same scene, but with more accuracy and drama. The third book cover depicts Rand reaching for Calendor while Mat and Perrin watch. Beelzemon's face looms in the shadows above. Samael and defenders from the stone appear in the back. To this day, the original painting hangs in the hallway outside of Robert Jordan and his wife Harriet's bedroom. But there's something different about it. One night, many years ago, Harriet woke up and saw the image of Beelzemon staring down at her. She was so disturbed by it that she hired Darrell Sweet to paint over Beelzemon's face. So, he no longer exists in the original painting. Harriet can sleep soundly now, but Beelzemon continues to live on in the spines of our book collections. The Shadow Rising. This cover depicts, we have no idea. It shows some characters, Rand, Mat, Egwene, making camp in the Aiel Waste. Fun fact, even Team Jordan has no idea who these characters are supposed to be. It was after this cover they said, enough is enough. Many people consider this the worst of the original covers, but ironically, it's considered the best of the books. By the time the 5th book was ready for publication, The Wheel of Time had become a smash hit. Tor was deeply invested in pleasing the author and the fans. Robert Jordan had more clout, and Harriet especially was ready for the book covers to look right. A considerable amount of notes were sent from Harriet to artist Darrell Sweet with very clear directions on what the character should look like. He was given notes about how Matt's medallion should look, what Rand's coat and hair should look like, and what Aviendha should be wearing. Darrell Sweet was probably delighted to have all these detailed notes, and so he produced a very accurate cover. Except the Trollocs still had helmets. But hey, at least they were no longer human. The sixth book depicts a scene from the very end of the book where the Aes Sedai swear fealty to Rand at Dumai's Wells. Attention and notes were given to the Aes Sedai's flame on her robes. The symbol didn't quite match the book descriptions, but at least we didn't see Egwene cooking dinner for somebody. The seventh book cover shows a muscle-bound Rand posing awkwardly at Shadar Logoth, where a falcon-like Trolloc looms nearby. Cool cover, right? Except, dude, Rand, don't skip leg day, okay? Fun fact, Tor considered an alternative version of this image where Rand is holding a sword. The sword isn't very accurate to the books, but the pose is slightly more natural than the final version. It was fairly common both now and then for some artists like Darrell Sweet to submit multiple draft paintings to the publisher for consideration. These drafts were considered rough sketches. The publisher would select one, and then the artist would either complete or remake the entire thing in a finalized form. We'll talk more about that later. The eighth book cover shows Rand leading an army into battle. Fun fact, the dragon banner with the yin-yang-like shape was originally painted incorrectly, in reverse. Fortunately, Tor Books, or maybe even Robert Jordan, caught this in time to digitally fix it and ensure it was printed correctly for the actual book covers. The ninth book cover gives us our first but not last look at a bearded Perrin. In the books, his axe is described as a half moon. While this book cover doesn't exactly capture that perfectly, it is still a pretty cool looking weapon. The woman shown here is Berelain, the first of Mayene. We know this because of the wealth of her clothing and the fact that the actual flag of Mayene is flapping behind her. As a side note, it was around this same time that Darrell Sweet painted another image of Perrin for the cover of Dragon's magazine. Note the similar cloak and axe style and similar colors for the book and magazine cover. Notice that staff that Berelain is holding? This appears just to be how Darrell Sweet draws all stave. Moraine has one just like it in the Eye of the World cover. Noel has one in the cover of Tower of Midnights that we'll talk about in a minute. Pretty much any staff painted by Darrell Sweet is going to look similar to this. The cover to Crossroads of Twilight features Matt Cawthon with his iconic hat and Ashendare staff. The fox-head medallion isn't really seen in this picture. The Ashendare staff appears mostly like a generic polearm weapon here, but don't worry, Darrell Sweet redeems himself in a few more book covers from now. Also appearing on the cover are Tuon, wearing blue, and Selucia, with blonde hair. Darrell K Sweet was rolling at this point, and not only did he have plenty of notes to work with, but the details were recorded pretty much without any major inaccuracies to the book. The old man shouting at nobody is either Thom or Noel, neither of which actually shouts, but whatever. Also, what's up with Matt and his purple glove? And what's really up with Matt's horse, who snorts air out of only one nostril, not both? Or is that just snow on the ground? The Knife of Dreams cover. This cover is the last time we see Perrin painted in an original Darrell Sweet book cover. It's also the only time he painted Ashaman. Later book covers by other artists would depict them, however. The red-haired person shown here is an Aiel, based on his hair color and the spears on his back. But he appears to be wearing a sword on his hip. I don't know about you, but I always found it creepy that this guy is peering directly at you, the reader. The woman in white is probably Berelain, based on her beauty and wealthy belt, but it could also potentially be a Gai'Shane. The armored man beside Perrin is most likely Davram Bashir, the great general and Perrin's father-in-law. The Gathering Storm cover. This cover featured Rand shouting at the sky while Aviendha, in her best maid outfit, watches behind him. Notice that Rand's missing left hand is strategically covered by his shirt, cape, thing. Remember how we said that Darrell Sweet paints all staves the same way? Well, he also apparently paints generic soldiers the same. The soldiers here are the same style as those seen on the covers for the Dragon Reborn, Knife of Dreams, and the Path of Daggers. Fun fact, an early draft of this painting was leaked to the internet before the book was published, and it caused quite an uproar at the time. The leaked image was the first draft of the painting that Tor sent to some bookseller catalogs. This was a normal practice for them, but by then the internet was a thing, and the fans went crazy analyzing every detail. The alternate painting showed the same scene, except Rand's back is facing us, and you can fully see his mutilated arm. Towers of Midnight. This cover features Matt, Noel, and Thom at the Tower of Genji. Matt's Ashidare has a nice detail on it, and it matches what we saw in Fires of Heaven. Remember that the detail was missing in Crossroads of Twilight. However, 2 out of 3 isn't bad. Notice the generic Darrell Sweet style staff shown here. Fans speculated for a while that the staff belonged to Moraine because it was so similar to the one shown on the Eye of the World cover. But this wasn't true. It wasn't Moraine's. Like the previous book, an early draft of this cover leaked to the internet, and like before, the fandom blew up with speculation. In this one, Noel's staff looks more normal, and Matt looks like Rambo. Darrell Sweet was asked to paint the cover for the final Wheel of Time novel, A Memory of Light. Unfortunately, he passed away at age 77. But before he passed, he completed a rough draft of the cover. The image depicts Elaine, Min, and Avienda standing in front of Rand's funeral pyre. Rand's body is encircled by a yin-yang. Other dead bodies litter the ground. It is a surreal and haunting image that was never completed. It makes us wonder that if maybe, after he made some corrections, this could have been his best cover of the series. With Darrell Sweet's passing, Tor Books hired renowned artist Michael Whalen to paint the cover. Michael Whalen had famously painted covers for Stephen King, Tad Williams, and others. Today, he's well known by fans for his Stormlight Archive covers, which grace the covers of Brandon Sanderson's books. Michael provided Tor with multiple drafts of the book cover to consider. Here's one that he painted. It depicts Rand descending into Shao Ghul holding Kalendor. This original painting now belongs to Dragonmount founder Jason Denzel. You can ask him more about it in our social media or in the comments. Tor really liked this version of the painting, but both they and Harriet wanted the final version to show the sky and the eclipse. So that's how we got the final version that we know of today. When Harriet saw this cover, she said, "I've waited nearly 25 years to see Rand painted right." Also shown in the painting is Nynaeve and Moraine. Nynaeve has short hair, having lost her famous braid in the previous novel. This is the only time Nynaeve appears anywhere on the original book covers. And now a bonus! You didn't think we'd forget New Spring, did you? Most fans are familiar with this cover, painted by Darrell Sweet, which features Lan and Moraine riding with Bukama and another character. New Spring was originally printed as a novella-length short story as part of the Legends anthology edited by Robert Silverberg in 1998. That version of the story came with an image painted by Darrell Sweet. This image depicts Lan and Bukama entering the city of Chachin, we think. Bukama is shoving a guard that probably deserved it. Whew, so there you go. 15 book covers and a whole lot of insight and little known facts about them. Which book covers do you like best? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, remember to subscribe, like this video, and hit the thumbs up. Also, please leave us a comment. We love positive comments. Also, do you have any friends that are interested in the Wheel of Time? I mean, you probably do. Let them know about us. We would love to share information with more people. You know, the more Wheel of Time, the more better. Also, we would love to thank our amazing Patreon community and our sponsor, Tor Books. Thank you so much for the support. We couldn't do any of this without you. Also, follow us on Dragonmount. And as always, my name is Kitty. This is the Wheel of Time Community Show. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.